It's been 24 hours since the NBA trade deadline, and I want to talk about it. A lot of people disregarded this trade deadline and said that it wasn't going to be very exciting and that a lot of things weren't going to happen because of the Giannis sweepstakes. But unfortunately, we didn't see Giannis end up getting traded, but somehow the NBA trade deadline turned out amazing. We got a lot of shocking moves, and I want to discuss them all here. I'm your host, Seb, and if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and tell me what you guys think about some of these trades as I break them down. But I'm going to go ahead and hit the highlight moments. I'm going to talk about the major time trades and then who I think won the trade deadline overall. I want to start off with what I think is the biggest trade of the deadline, and that's going to be AD to the Wizards. Now, this is a huge shocker because I don't think a lot of people saw that AD was going to be going to the Wizards, but maybe the Wizards had the biggest return package. But I want to say that I think AD is the biggest winner here just because the fan base from the Mavs were starting to get a little bit toxic, and unfairly so in my opinion, because AD didn't ask for any of this. It was all the front office, and people can't help but blame AD for Luka leaving. And him getting out of there and getting a fresh start, I think is great. And it's going to be a huge moment for his career if he can take the Wizards to the next level. And pairing him alongside Trae Young, like both of these guys are right now on like the low part of their careers. And so hopefully uniting them together, if they can make a playoff push, can raise their stocks up a little bit. I do feel a little bit bad because a lot of people criticize D'Angelo Russell, and and AD's been on his team with the Lakers twice now, and then on the Mavericks, and now he has to go to Washington and be with D'Lo again, and it's so funny that he won't escape him. As for the Mavs organization, I think that it's a great deal from them. I mean, they ended up getting a couple of firsts and then a bunch of second round picks and then just a lot of player swaps. But for them, it means that they're fully resetting and they're going to try to build their core around Cooper Flag. And so hopefully this gives them some money with some expiring deals. And then maybe they can sign a star who is just looking to get a little bit of stock back up, and maybe they can make a playoff push next season. But hopefully this gives Cooper Flag the keys and enables it to be his team. The next big trade that I want to talk about is the James Harden for Darius Garland swap. And now a lot of people thought that this was super shocking. I don't think it's incredibly shocking just because of the trajectory of both of these players. I mean, James Harden is having a huge resurgence of a year, and Darius Garland has been having a lot of downturn recently. Like, he's not fitting the Cavs play style right now, and his efficiency is down. And so just doing a 1-for-1 exchange basically with these guys is really great. The Clippers get a promising young guard, and hopefully he goes back to form and starts to blossom again, while the Cavs get a resurging player in James Harden. His efficiency has been up, and everybody knows that he's a great time performer during the season, and so hopefully he can help this Cavs team have some postseason success. Or it should actually be the other way around. Hopefully the Cavs help James Harden. So I'm really hoping that they can make some noise in the playoffs, especially just because they've had some early round exits, and then last season they were looking pretty good up until they got some injuries, and then I think they got bounced in the second round. So maybe we might see a conference finals appearance from the Cavs. Who knows? But as for Darius Garland and the Clippers, like, they're hitting the reset button too, it looks like. And the Clippers now have some assets from some other trades along with Darius Garland. And so their future isn't looking completely tanked now that they're getting rid of this old James Harden and bringing in some young blood. And so I want to say that this was a great deal for both teams. The next big one I want to talk about is Porzingis and the Kuminga swap. I know there was a little bit more pieces outside of them, but I think this is a crazy out of nowhere trade because I don't think anybody would have predicted that this is where Kuminga would have gone to the Hawks, especially not for Porzingis. I mean, it makes sense from the Warriors standpoint because they do need some big men. Like, the one thing during the Curry era that they've never had is some really good, talented big men. And Porzingis brings that height, and he also brings that shooting that the Warriors are known for. The only thing that sucks is that Porzingis is aging, and he's also very injured. He's been out for this whole season, I believe. And so them getting him isn't necessarily like a win now move, but it is going to help them out, hopefully, if he returns and healthy. As for Kuminga, I was reading that there were some reports that he didn't even know that he was going to go to the Hawks, and so like this was a blindside move for him. I hope it works out. I am pretty sure Kuminga is a guard, and so I don't know how he's going to play in the rotation with the Hawks, especially just because they have Dyson Daniels and Jalen Johnson just balling out right now. And so hopefully he can go in there and have some impact. But I don't know if this really changes a whole lot for his situation and trying to get his stock up and trying to be the guy that he wants to be on the team. And then the last big trade that I want to talk about is Vucevic for Anthony Simons. Now, this one also kind of came out of nowhere, but again, it makes a lot of sense just because the Celtics are looking pretty good. Simons is playing really great. Vucevic is playing really great. And both of these teams aren't necessarily in the positions that they want to be. Like the Celtics are playing really great basketball, but they don't have a real big man. They don't have a true center. And then the Bulls are like having some really great moments with their star players, but they're not really doing anything. They're still battling for the play-in, and it kind of sucks just because they had such a strong start to the season. They were like 5-0, and then they lost like 7 straight, and so that was crazy. Trading both of these guys means that the Bulls get off of a old guy expiring contract and giving him an opportunity to win a championship with the Celtics, and then now they're getting a young player in return. And so maybe even if they don't decide to keep Anthony, they can go ahead and trade him for some assets, flip him in the offseason maybe, and they're not really losing a lot because the salaries just made a whole lot of sense. And especially for the Celtics, like I think this is a huge boost for a team that was already looking good without their star player in Jason Tatum. And so now them acquiring Vucevic is like a really great deal. Now I'm thinking that they might actually end up making it to the conference finals. A lot of people were saying that they're already looking like title contenders even without Jason Tatum. I think that might be a little bit of a reach. It's kind of hard to tell during the regular season because anything can happen in the regular season. It's the postseason that really matters. And so we'll see once they make it to that first round how they look against their opponent. But adding Vooch is a huge plus to the C's. And if Jason Tatum comes back for that postseason, they're looking really scary with like a real starting 5. And so great deal from the Celtics right there. And then, of course, there's a lot of trades that I haven't mentioned yet. A lot of them are just bench deepening pieces. And so I don't really want to get into the too nitty gritty about them just because a lot of them are the same. They just traded for some 3-and-D players and like extra 7th or 8th man, hopefully to make their deep postseason runs. But I do want to give my top 3 teams in each conference that I think really outdid the trade deadline and who I'm looking forward to seeing. First, I want to start off with the Knicks, Lakers, and T-Wolves because all 3 of these teams did the exact same thing. They traded for 3-and-D players. And I think it's really important because we've seen that these are really important for postseason success. And all 3 of these teams were lacking a little bit of that, especially off the bench. And so now having that extra player for all of them, it sounds really great. And the 3-and-D is the most important figure in basketball these days just because the 3-point shooting is like the winner. You're going to lose or win games based off that 3-point percentage. And so if you have guys that are playing efficiently and can guard, I mean, that's all you could really ask for, and that'll like help you have a really long career in the NBA. And so kudos to all 3 of these teams that were lacking it, and they got some of that. The next team I want to talk about is the Thunder. And for them, they also took a chance on a 3-point percentage guy. And because they already have a lot of defense, they don't really need that. They just need that offensive 3-point threat. And they got it from Jared McCain. And the reason why I'm not grouping him with the other 3 is because we haven't really seen a whole lot from him on the defensive end. But it's also because this is a unique situation. Jared McCain has been injured for the past year. He's had a really strong start to his freshman year. And then he had that injury. And unfortunately, it just set him back. And he hasn't looked great since he's came back. And I mean, rightfully so. Like, the dude's been off for a whole year. But he's been balling in the G League since he's been sent there about a month ago, I want to say. And the Thunder are now taking a chance on him and saying, like, hey, we believe that you can blossom again under our system. And hopefully he's the piece that they need. Because if he can actually have some real minutes in the rotation and have his 3-point percentage like he was last season, I mean, the Thunder are looking really scary to repeat as title contenders. They went on a championship run without having great 3-point efficiency. And so them adding this to their arsenal is just like huge step in the right direction. Kudos to Sam Presti and good luck to the Thunder. The last 2 teams I already talked about, but it's going to be the Celtics and the Cavs. And both of these are just because they got some star players and they're going to play some real minutes for the team. They're just that missing piece that they need. And so hopefully if they can mesh well and make it work, then both of these teams are looking really good to make deep runs, especially the Celtics. Like, if they can do all of this without Jason Tatum, then having Tatum come back, I mean, they're like basically right in contention again. And so with the Cavaliers, it's a little bit different because they've had a lot of strong promises, especially last season. They finished like 65-20 or something like that. And then they just had some injuries during the postseason. But with James Harden, I mean, anything's on the table. He's had some really great performances in the postseason, but his biggest problem is inconsistency. And so hopefully this piece for both of the teams is what that adds, is some consistency. And so I'm really looking forward to the East. It kind of spices it up a little bit. It's not so boring. It's not just all the stars are in the West. Now we got a real like contention between both of the conferences. And so everybody's a winner here. Those are my thoughts and opinions on the NBA trade deadline. I'm really excited to see how the last month and a half of basketball plays out. And I'm hoping that we get some really good moments during the postseason. Some rivalries are starting to happen. And I mean, I'm rooting for the Nuggets. My GOAT Jokic, like, he's my favorite player. But we'll end up seeing what happens with him. I mean, if he ends up going down as like the 4 seed, those top 6 teams in the West are all looking really scary. So hopefully they can make another conference finals run. Same thing with the Knicks. I'm really rooting highly for them. I mean, I love Jalen Brunson, his pay cut that he took to try and take on this team and make them something special. Like, I think it's super amazing. It says a lot about his character. And so I'm hoping that we're getting a Nuggets Knicks finals. That would be great. But I mean, as long as we get really great basketball, I mean, I can't complain. And I hope you guys can't either. And so hopefully you guys are looking forward to the Super Bowl this weekend. That's the nearest competition that we're going to get. And then we'll take a couple months off and then go back into the NBA playoffs. If you guys made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you all for watching. I'm trying something new with this format because I noticed that I've been taking a lot of breaks in between my thoughts and reviewing my notes, but I'm really trying to be better about just talking to you all like naturally and more flowy. And so I hope you guys are enjoying it. Let me know what you guys think about it, if you like it or dislike it. But I hope you guys are actually just enjoying the content. It's all for you. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a great day.